Truck driver protest has continued there, spilling over into the United States and around the world. Right now, it is causing some travel issues out of Canada, or rather into Canada from the United States primarily, which could possibly affect the American supply chain, according to some leaders in cities in Detroit and also in Canada. The group of truckers being called the Freedom Convoy, temporarily blocking the Ambassador Bridge. It's the busiest border crossing between the U.S. and Canada. We have a live look right now this morning. Currently, the lanes going into Detroit from Canada are open. It's just you cannot get into Canada from the U.S. over this particular bridge. Now, this bridge is between Windsor, Ontario, and Detroit. It carries 25% of trade between the U.S. and Canada. On Tuesday night, the Coutts border crossing between Alberta, Canada, and Montana was also shut down because of a truck protester blockade there. We're covering every angle of this story, beginning with Rudabeh Shabazi. She's live in Ottawa for us. Rudabeh.
Adrian, good morning. I am live here in the Capitol, but you mentioned it, that Coutts crossing. Also, the Blue Water Bridge in Port Huron, Michigan. It's not shut down, but it has long delays because all of these trucks have to be rerouted. So this is now 3 ports of entry between Canada and the United States that we know of that is being impacted, and that could affect, as you mentioned, the supply chain. I want to show you where we are outside of Parliament here in Ottawa. This is the capital of Canada, as you know, and it is in complete gridlock. Trucks, as far as the eye can see, they've just camped out here. They say they're not leaving until their demands are met. People are bringing gas cans. They're cooking for them. They have a lot of support from protesters around Canada who are coming to join in their cause. They're protesting vaccine mandates. That's how it originally started, but it's evolved into much more, protesting all kinds of mandates, mask mandates, vaccine mandates. They say what they call government overreach, and they say they are not leaving until their demands are met.
Protests against Canada's vaccine mandate shut down the busiest land crossing in North America. If you were trying to enter Canada or the U.S. on Monday or Tuesday using the Ambassador Bridge, you would have been met with walls of trailers and miles of big rigs. Even off the bridge, semi-trailers snake well onto the surface streets of Detroit and Windsor, Ontario.
I've been here since yesterday. Since yesterday at I think it was noon. Yeah, I haven't left.
How long will you stay?
As long as it takes, I guess.
By late Tuesday, the truck convoy was cleared, with traffic moving slowly. The convoy started in British Columbia, protesting the vaccine mandate for drivers entering Canada from the U.S., but has evolved into widespread expressions of discontent over mask mandates, shutdowns, and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's leadership.
The government's out of control, and we're hoping that well, we're already seeing some of the changes, but we're hoping that we could fix some of the issues that are going on that are hurting people all over the country.
Prime Minister Trudeau, who just had COVID and spent a week in isolation calling out the protesters, says they're stopping Canada's economy and democracy.
I'm old. I rely on my friends to sometimes visit me or bring me food. That's how I got out this morning.
Now in the U.S., online chatter growing about a possibly similar demonstration, but no route or time has been announced, in part due to the decentralized and fringe nature of the organizing members. And in Australia's capital, Canberra, lawmakers worry that the so-called Freedom Convoy inspired the last 8 days of protests against coronavirus measures throughout that city.
And back out here in Ottawa, it's difficult to imagine, maybe if you haven't been here, the impact of this. But if you can imagine all of this in Washington, D.C., outside the White House, outside the Supreme Court, you kind of get an idea of how impactful this is. I talked about the gas cans earlier. Take a look at this. This is illegal. No one is allowed to bring gas to these truckers because, of course, the government wants these truckers to leave. But people continue to stream in pretty blatantly, bringing the truckers gas and supplies. The government calling this an occupation. But it would take at least double the police force here in Ottawa to remove these truckers. So they are, while they're not removing them en masse, they are kind of just keeping an eye on it. But there is no telling how long this could go on, Adrian.
You make a good point. I know you and I spoke on the phone last night as you were in Ottawa, and they're getting a lot of support from local Canadians there with the fuel being brought to them and food and other supplies.
I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of of a hard time hearing you, but yes, I think you talked about supplies and food from Canadians. Yes, there are people coming in. It's a rallying cry. You know, it's much like these mandates that we've seen in the United States and in other places across the world, where it started as a trucker convoy in British Columbia to protest vaccine mandates, but it's morphed into much more kind of an overall discontent with the government. And so a lot of other people besides truckers have joined in this protest.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.